Welcome to my channel, Redeeming Thunder. My name is Erica, and I'm here to give you a fabulous prophetic word. You are walking through the threshold. The threshold is the border of the entryway from one room to the next. Okay, but in the spirit realm, it's quite significant of an ordeal to walk through the threshold. Why? Because it's like you're walking through another dimension of time. Another chapter in your life. This word was given to me through a dream, also through about several dreams that I'm going to list here, and some Rema word. On 7/8/2025, this is chapter 43, part 1. Okay, so for those of you who are trying to figure out who your future ordained spouse is, this is the channel that you need to keep up to date with. Okay, like always, pray in the secret place to your Heavenly Father for confirmation. Okay, it's gonna be quite a surprise of who your future ordained spouse is. Okay, initially I had a dream where I saw this woman dating this guy, and they were at church. Okay, in the sub days the night before, okay, so early July 2025, I heard, "I've had a crush on you since 3rd grade." Okay, now in the sense of I had a crush on you since 3rd grade, I'm not sure if Yahuah is stating like literally 3rd grade, somebody in your class. So now you're going to pull out these yearbooks from way back when. I'm not sure if it's exactly, or is it an exaggerated comment to say someone from your past, like maybe someone that is, you know, for many decades. Okay, it could be something of that nature. Okay, so now going into the next dream, and I'm going to be breaking it down and providing some information on the video of what the dream means. Okay, just reading into knowing what the first part of this dream is entailing, I can already say that there could be non-divine alignment invitations, and or what looks like a open door, and not all the open doors are you supposed to go through. Okay, you're not supposed to go through every single open door that comes your way. So you have to have high discernment in this hour. Okay, it has a lot to do with what Yahuah has delivered you from. You are not to go back to. That should be a given right there. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into this dream that I had on the next day, 7/9/2025. I was like viewing from the side. That this woman had driven into the parking lot at an elementary school. She had her baby in the car. Now remember, the baby, the symbolism of the baby has a lot to do with the ministry or the prophetic promise. Okay, she walked up to the entrance and went inside where the lobby was at in the elementary school. And when she walked out, she had learned that she was she was granted a position at that school. So when she walked out, she was speaking to the janitor, and she said, they offered me a job, or they were giving me a job. That's what she said. And he says, I don't think you should take this job. And then he said, they don't like you. I guess he works there, and so he knows the secretive talk that people are doing in the back end scenes, okay? And so she's trying to sound hopeful and saying, well, maybe they'll give me a different job, and maybe she said that maybe she doesn't have to interact with them as much, and maybe it would just be for the meanwhile, okay? Like a lot of people in real life say these excuses, or say these excusing other people's behavior by stating these things. Why? Because you're so desperate and you need income, and you say stuff like that, you know, to excuse the real reason, or the real, or to excuse and usually that happens when you don't pray about it and you just jump in, okay? He says to this woman, you wanted this child out of this school. You should not take a job where you want to ultimately have your child not attend this school, and then you didn't even want to be in this city, okay? In this area. Okay, but she says, well, she kind of needs a job, so she needs to make money, so she's getting kind of desperate. All right, so she goes back in her car, and suddenly, as she sits in her car with her little baby in the car, some familiar people, they drive and they park in the parking lot where she was at. And she thought that was a little bit weird, because they weren't wanting to speak to her. So that was a little bit weird, okay? So all of a sudden they're all like parked right next to her. How convenient is that? That's the other thing of discernment that you need to do, is be aware, be on guard when individuals are entering your life right when you're in transition, okay? And the reason why she was thinking of speaking to them, because she was trying to get back to work, and then she was trying to find a babysitter for her little baby. All right, so she thought, there's no one else out there that can do it at this time. She may have to reach out to the individuals that were pretty much backstabbing her. But she thought, they won't harm the baby, but they may harm her in the future, you know. But she was so desperate at this point. So that's what I'm saying. In this life, we get so desperate for help that sometimes we cave and we let certain people back in because we feel like there's no other way to solve the problem or to get assistance. All right, so again, she didn't really trust them, but she was desperate, right? Suddenly, others had arrived and parked right near them, and it looked to be where they were drug addicts, and they were zonked out, and they were so high strung on drugs, and they were just like evil spirits. Okay, it was like an evil aura. It felt like it was like becoming a junction of bad aura. Okay, and then she started to come to her senses and think and say, I'm in the wrong group. I'm not going to take that job. Because what she thought was, if I take this job, I'll be in the same parking lot and I'll be amongst the same individuals that she was so much needing to escape from. Okay? And she was already delivered from it. Okay? So she drove away with her baby in the car. And she says, never mind, I'm not taking that job. The scene changed. Now she's with an entirely different location. It looks like it's a entryway to an adventure park. And she looked up. She saw what could be her future ordained spouse. And it was looking like an Arabian Adventureland excursion. Everything looked massive with castles and mosaic and beautiful towers, okay? And she saw her older son standing next to her. One of her sons. And then he suddenly looks at the woman and says, he said he didn't want you to lose your clothes when driving in under the latch. Your clothes may snag at the bottom when you're trying to unlock the latch. So he went in for both of you. So she's like, what? What does that mean? And she looked up and she saw the future ordained spouse near the edge of the water on one of the excursions. Okay? Like one of the rides. One of the adventure, like in the adventure park. Okay? And he was right at the edge where there was like kind of like a pool, and he was standing inside of the pool, but like on the edge, like leaning on it and just waving and saying hi from the top. And she's like, what? That was kind of him. And then she said, but I don't want him to be without any swim shorts, as this may snag when he's unlatching the plug below. So in other words, he's in the pool in the excursion, the test that he has to go through for both of them to excel and ascend. He volunteered, the future ordained spouse volunteered to do the work, the hard work, okay? The test. And so that she didn't have to do it. And he had to swim all the way to the bottom and unplug or turn this lever to drain the water. Once the water was drained, then he passed the test, right? And so this woman could already envision how him swimming down and unlatching the big latch to unlock it and release the water. She could already tell that he is taking on the burden, okay? Fighting for the relationship, doing the hard work. Because one of them had to do it. And then, so she told her son, let's climb up through the excursion and find where he's at, okay? And see if he needs help. So then they both went and they found him. And he only had a shirt. And he didn't have swim shorts. So he didn't have, his shirt was off, but it was to the side. Okay, this has a lot to do with the armor of the Spirit, okay? So, he says, don't worry, I'll just cover my waist with my shirt and walk to my hotel room and change over there. So he knew that possibly his shorts could get caught underneath, and they could just, in order to rescue himself out of that excursion, he'd have to like remove himself from those shorts, right? So take them off. Obviously he has underwear, but then he's left without shorts, and now he has to leave that excursion and walk away. So I saw that this woman offered to go back to his hotel if he would give her the keys so that she can go back to his hotel and grab another pair of shorts so he doesn't want to walk in public with a shirt around his body. Do you know what I'm saying? To cover himself. So, and she can bring it right back to him so he can be dressed. She felt that that was the least that she could do, seeing how he has resolved the challenge, the excursion, okay? And so she wanted to cover him. All right. All of that being said is, when you are in waiting for your future ordained spouse, you need to be covering your individual with prayer, because there's going to be a lot of warfare, okay? And he could be trying to better himself, okay? And Yahuah is doing a lot of behind the scenes work in these individuals. Some of these individuals are prodigals, that spouses that return. So he's doing a lot of work, okay? And they may not be doing it all the way correctly. They're just pushing through to the best of their ability. And they could be getting into embarrassing moments. And they could be getting into situations where it's rough, where it's hard work, okay? And sometimes through those spiritual warfare, they could be so maybe exhausted by the excursion that they didn't cover themselves spiritually. Okay, so that's your job as the future wife of this individual. Your job, the job of Eve for Adam, was to cover him. Okay? Pray for him. All right, so now, as you are walking through the threshold, okay? This is when Yahuah says this. Firecrackers. There's going to be firecrackers. Fireworks. And I'm not going to be able to stop him. I'm not going to stop him. His rewards are in me, and I in him. He's going to be shocked to see you. He's going to whisper to his friends how amazingly beautiful you are, inside and out. He's going to summon your call, and you won't resist. You will cave. Why? Because I had this thing arranged. I want you to cave in. You are supposed to cave and submit to his love. I'm going to allow you to consume his love, and it's coming, and nothing can stop what's coming. Okay, so around that time frame, he says, I will tell you who it is. It is your husband from your past dreams. All right. And you're like, oh my goodness, I've had dreams, but it's been several different people. And he's been doing that on purpose. If you watch the chapters right prior to this one, it's talking about he's been disguising him. Because you were not ready yet. And now you are becoming ready to know who it is. Okay, so ask Abba for a sign. So in this hour, make a list, a few items, a few things on the list that you want Yahuah to give you a sign. Okay? Physical sign on earth. Then in the sub-days I hear his voice. Okay, so that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you on continuation of chapter 43. Shalom.